Hi there, my name's Anna and welcome to another painting video. So in today's video I'm working in oil paints on a little canvas and I'm painting a succulent. You can see I've already sketched out my little plant and now I'm using my water mixable oils to color it in. And for this project I really enjoyed using these water mixable oils. The advantage of them, of course, is that you can wash your paintbrush, or you can clean your paintbrush using water. You can also thin your paints with water, which I didn't really need for this painting very much, as the paint already had a nice consistency for what I needed it for. But it made cleaning things up a lot easier, and just cleaning my paintbrush in between colors. Me and oil paints haven't become the best of friends yet, and one reason obviously was having to use things like turpentine, paint thinner to clean your paintbrush with, and to work your colors in general, and cleaning things up and just making it more difficult and less accessible to use. Another problem with oil painting for me is the slow drying time. I'm just not used to that yet. It certainly has its advantages, definitely, especially I noticed this in this kind of painting. But the slow drying time does mean that you have to be careful not to smudge your paint with your hand as you're painting. You'll see in the process that I get my canvas a little bit dirty with my dirty hand. But later on I paint in the background, so it's not a big problem. And also you can't really layer your paint. Well, obviously you can. You have to wait for your paint to dry though, and that could take about 2 days. And I'm just not patient enough really to wait for individual layers to dry, and that's why I just kind of painted this all in one go. And I haven't done that many oil paintings before, but so far I usually haven't waited for the layers necessarily to dry. If I did, I could do a lot of layering just like I could with acrylics or watercolors, but it was fine for this kind of painting where I really wanted to have these nice smoothly blended leaves on this succulent plant. And as you can see, the process for these leaves are all fairly similar. A lot of the time I'll start with the darker areas kind of at the outer corners or closer to where the leaves are overlapping, and then I work my way into the middle where the paint is lighter or where the leaf is lighter, and then I kind of blend everything together a little bit. You can see that the leaves are usually darker where they overlap and in the crease in the middle, and then I have the lightest paint in the areas where the leaves are hit by light. That's where the highlight is. And I'm using this tiny weeny little painting brush because it gives me the feeling of having more control, because the paint doesn't dry very quickly and it's very slippery. I just feel like with oil paint I don't have a lot of control yet. Maybe with practice that will change, but I found it more enjoyable to do this way. And I do love a painting where I can just get lost in the detail and the process, and can just work on it for hours. This painting did take me quite a while, I'd say 4 hours possibly, and I did say I finished it all in one go, but I do think I didn't do it all in one day, but it hadn't yet finished drying when I came back to it. And I didn't necessarily layer over areas that I had already painted. I just continued painting more petals. Leaves, that is. This is a succulent. And I'm using a lot of blue here and turquoise and some magenta, especially around the corners of the leaves. There's a little hue of purple or magenta that you can see in the reference, and here in my painting as well. And obviously I'm using a lot of white. For a little bit here I switched to a larger paintbrush, but I didn't stick with it for very long. This leaf is especially dark where it overlaps, and I mixed some brown into my blue to get it especially dark, and I didn't have any white in that dark area. with oil paint you can basically blend it endlessly, so you have to be a bit careful that you don't go overboard with that. And whilst you can't really layer very well because the paint will mix into each other, you can add some details over top if you're very careful with putting them down very lightly. While I'm recording this, I'm actually participating in Inktober. Are you participating this year? Yeah, it's a very different pace to this painting, trying to complete one painting a day in, well, not a large space of time because, you know, during the week I have to work, so there's not that much time except maybe an hour in the evening. But so far it's working out okay, I haven't missed a day yet. But I can already tell that I'm missing colors, because so far I have really just worked in black and white and just using fine liners and ink. By the way, if you are enjoying this video and this painting, please remember to give me a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. This painting did take me a long time. I found it relatively easy to get a very nice result here using the oil paints and just using my patience and following my reference photo. I guess I also had a nice reference photo where you could see clearly where there was shadow and where there was light, and it gave me enough contrast to go by and I didn't have to guess too much. I could have probably finished this a lot faster had I used a larger paintbrush for more of the painting. Another tip for oil painting is possibly the fact that you can clean away the paint you've already put down if you made a mistake, if you want to correct something. Obviously that could be difficult if it's an area with a lot of detail and some of that detail you don't want to wipe away, but you could just use an old towel or a paper cloth, and in my case, because I'm using water mixable oil, some water, and you could just wipe whatever you've painted off. Or if you're not using water mixable oils, you could use some paint thinner to help you get that paint off the canvas, and then you can just put down your corrected version of that area. What is also very handy is that your paints on your palette don't dry so quickly, so you can use them for a long period of time. You're not wasting a lot of paint because it's drying in the time you need it for your painting, and you can come back to it possibly even the next day or the day after and it will still be wet and you still have the color mixes you've already mixed. I found that very handy for the background because I could take my time and I would still have the same color mixes that I did before, and I didn't have to try and match colors that had already dried. It is also said that oil paint has less of a color shift in comparison to acrylics, as I didn't have to color match really too much here. I'm not sure if it's true or not, especially with the water mixable oils it might be different. But as I said, I didn't use a lot of water in the painting itself, just really to clean my brush. And here I'm using a mixture of blue, and turquoise and brown just to get a really dark color, and I'm also using variations of that color mixture just to get this nice out of focus background that I like for most of my paintings. And I'm painting around my subject, and I'm doing the background last in this case. Usually I'd do my background first, but because it would remain wet for the painting process, I'd just get my hand dirty if I did it that way. So I'm doing it last, and I can clean up areas where I had dragged paint over the canvas with the back of my hand. And I can take my time, and the paint will still be wet and I can still blend it. And I don't have to rush with the background, which is something that I'm not used to. Because it does take time if you have to work around your subject that you've spent hours painting and you don't want to ruin. And it's also good to remember to paint the sides of your canvas while you have your colours out, especially all of the sides. I think I missed one of the sides, and I don't know if I've completed it by now. Because once you put your colours away, you know, you don't necessarily think of doing it. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this painting. I really enjoyed painting it in any case, and yeah, let me know if you try water mixable oils or try to paint something similar. Yeah, let me know what you think of this, and I'll see you again soon in one of my next videos. So take care and bye bye.